Hi, this is a day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Our devotion for today, July 22nd, is from the Gospel of St. John, chapter 20, verses 11 through 14. Verse 11, "But Mary stood weeping outside the tomb, and as she wept, she stooped to look into the tomb." Mary's not the only person to stand outside of or next to a tomb or a graveside and weep. Many of us have had that awful experience. As she wept, Mary managed to stoop down to look into Jesus' tomb, which had moments ago been discovered empty. Jesus' body was not there. Mary's grief at Jesus' death was just now compounded by its disturbance, or by the disappearance, of Jesus' body from the tomb. Verse 12, "And she saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had lain, one at the head and one at the feet. And they said to her, 'Woman, why are you weeping?'" So now two angels dressed in white are sitting where Jesus' body used to lie in the tomb, one where his head had been and one where his feet had been. They see Mary crying and they ask her why she's crying. I believe the angels are filled with compassion for Mary's grief. They know the truth. They know that Jesus has been raised from the dead and that it's a time of rejoicing. But Mary doesn't know that. And so they ask her why she's crying. She says to them that they have taken away my Lord and I don't know where they have laid him. Mary replies to the angels that they've taken away my Lord, but that's not the worst part. Here's the worst part from Mary's perspective. "And I do not know where they have laid him." Where is his body? Where can she go to finish what she had started, to bury him? The depth of her grief is almost too much to bear. Where is her Lord's body? How can she wrap it in spices and keep it from decaying too soon or from attracting animals to the smell? It is too much for Mary to bear. And in truth, it's too much for Jesus to bear as well. Verse 14, having said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing, but she did not know that it was Jesus. In her grief, Mary is too distraught to recognize Jesus when he's standing right in front of her. Grief makes us all muddle-headed, unable to think rightly or clearly, unable to perceive things we might otherwise have understood. It's like our eyes and our ears are partially closed and unable to perceive or fully hear what it is we see and what has been said. Mary does not recognize her Lord standing right in front of her, a man she has known well for at least 3 years. She can't identify him right there because of her grief. And the truth is, many people today can't see and hear the truth that's right in front of their eyes or being spoken to them when they're in deep grief. We should have compassion on those who are mourning the loss of loved ones, those who are grieving. We should have compassion enough to make sure that they don't try to make any very important decisions for a while because they're not thinking clearly. They're not perceiving things rightly. Remember that next time you're in grief or a friend is in grief, to take it easy on them, to offer them words of comfort, and by all means, do what you can to keep them from making any important decisions for a while. That's an act of love. Go in peace, serve the Lord.